So we've got Kevin Jackson, Craig Muir, Denni Turp, Brian Hill, John Kitchen, Lynn Shapiro, Jeff Phelps, if he's still with us, Sarah Passingham, Matt Black, Fiona Jones, Michael J. Bird, and then Barry's going to do another one to finish us off because you only got to read one at the start. So there we go. Okay, let's kick off with the open mic. To start us off, he was also published in the Green Issue. Can we welcome up Kevin Jackson, please?
Hi, Rafe. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Massive shout out, appreciation and love to HCE for all of the great work with this and all of your magazines. I'm a radical fairy. People kind of know that, if they know it at all, as an alternate queer group. But actually, what I really tune to is its paganism and its sense of the environment. So basically what it boils down to is mainstream, separate lives competing, alternate life, connected lives stewarding. So that's kind of how I live, and it's from that perspective that I write, really. So 2 short poems, one very much lockdown theme, small again. To feel small again, with the toes, with the sheep, with the heather-crumbed hills, with the wanton sky and the earth and the passing earth, bearing the weight of all those tomorrows. And the other short poem to finish with, based on a trip I got to make to Iceland 4 years ago, where the wild world is very in your face and it's a beautiful experience, looking through the fingers. It has risen these years of itself, of its telling of itself, held soft fist, balanced between undismayed, of sagas boxed, braced, of sea made stone under one lava midnight, of fired earth upflung, of gulls regardless fish following as we dream follow. The faces of loss speak plain, full-staved. So too the faces of youth, defiant, fire-skinned. These are not the seas of visions, nor even of fears. These wild waters grasp but stronger truth, the sturdy heart, wind-raged, wave-thrashed, set here to be broken free. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Those were excellent, Kevin. It's a nice bit of intrigue, very green, and a good length too. I did forget to say at the start, ideally, open mic slots are about 3 minutes, so 3 minutes each. Usually just one poem for some people, but if like Kevin, you've got a few quite nice short ones, you can do 2, not a problem. Thanks very much, Kevin. That was great. Can we welcome up next Craig Muir, please, also published in the Green Issue.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be with you this afternoon. And yes, this is the poem that is in the Green Issue. It's called Aldermore Lane. The little bit of explanation for those who don't know Coventry is that Aldermore Lane is, I live just off Aldermore Lane on what used to be the Humber, and then it became the Peugeot, and now it's a housing estate. But Dorothy, who she died last year, but she came to live in Coventry in about 1923, and she remembers when before this was a factory, and this tries to pick out some of those history. Aldermore Lane. There's a bend in the road where once a lane meandered between hedgerows, gently following the curve of the land, and where now we wait for traffic lines to crawl onward. A gate quietly opened into a meadow, filled with life-giving cattle pasture, shared with dragonfly, dung beetle, plant hoppers, woodlice, weevil, larva, oxtail, lady's bed straw, and buttercup. There's a bend in the road where generations rushed through wrought iron factory gates, clocking in to build transportable life, growing snipes, hawks, pigs, access to pastures new, until soft seeds blow into a brown field, filling with ruderal herbs, scrub, habitat, beloved by bee, wasp, wagtail, slowworm, common lizard, newt, orchid, rodent, goldfinch, linnet and kestrel. There is a bend in the road where boy racers test tyre grip, accelerating over fresh tarmac, where cartwheels once jolted. We like smooth traction as we await our familiar entry alongside suburban imports, where pigeons breed under solar panels and Turdus ubernicus nests in white laurel beside sparrow, starling, spaniel feeding on mowed lawn by a gently charging leaf. And then second one, just from an observation whilst out on my morning walk. This is called recycling. Pavel is a huge man. Pajamas cover little. He is leaning over the wheelie, cramming a fortnight's waste to be collected, sorted, loaded, shipped and dumped in a land Pavel left years ago. Thank you.
Nice, Craig. Thanks for sharing those. A second one, a different take on recycling, very clever. And what you didn't get from Craig's excellent reading of his first poem is that on the page, it's really interesting, the shape. He's really captured that bend in the road. It's nice to look at as well as to read in here. Well-crafted language and well-crafted shape. Can we welcome up next Denni Turp, please, also published in the Green Issue.
Do I have to? I did unmute myself, yes.
You're unmuted, yeah.
Here it is, very short one in here. I was really pleased to see it on the first page of poetry, so thank you for that. It's called Al Fresco. And I like the fact that there are several poems from a different perspective about gardens and green things, which this one also is. Al Fresco. No garden is just a lawn like cress in a basket neatly trimmed. An edge of scent from light jasmine stars that linger round an open door. A tidy row of crisp and vitamin-full bright canes of beans you grow. Birds ravage through the air, attack, are feathered dinosaurs disguised by song. They tear out hearts, rip life from soil. An army of open mouths plunders hour on hour through night and day, and hidden tiny monsters lurk below. No garden is entirely a place of peace, despite its tranquil surface show. And a bit more usual, this one. It's published in, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Scintilla, which is the Journal of the Vaughan Society. I think this was the last issue. It's called System Incompatibility. Relentless winds and weeks of rain have trashed this garden, wounded earth and branch alike, left ruin in their wake. Mud gluts paths and branches litter winter's grief across the grass. I replace the lid torn from the water butt, secure the gale-loosed gate, then stand and wait. In the starkness of the hawthorn hedge, a robin flickers by the lane and calls. Jackdaws pass overhead in single file, It's getting late. The sun bleeds low, and fairy rings of far too early daffodils crowd in hopeless clusters beneath the trees. Red tips of glossy abelia glow match-head buds to spark the day, and the first pale primrose of the year tries to shine a yellow flourish for the coming spring. In fields beyond the walls, sparrows set down stones in pictograms we've forgotten how to read. Crows scrutinize the ground for signs beneath where buzzards wheel the skies. And as the light retreats, moles dig and pile to spell out earth-mound sentences we fail to understand or even recognize. Bit more environmentally minded, that one. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Denni. Those are both excellent. It's great to hear another poem from you as well as the one that we already know. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Sort of the got a dinosaur feel to it. Sort of the garden becomes a battleground. It's great. Thanks very much. Can we welcome up next Brian Hill, published on our website for the Green Issue, I believe, but not in the magazine, not this time. But his poetry is excellent. You were still with us, Brian?
Still here.
Excellent.
Thanks for the introduction. I have one poem for you called Viridians. It was one of the others that I submitted for the edition. So I better be quick because it'll take the time. It's about green, but it's also about people trying to make sense of the world. And I think that the fact that we sometimes seldom manage to do it, it's about hubris. So I give you Viridians. Green, grass and leaf before winter, blue contained by yellow, the eyes jealousy. Somewhere, the colour of heaven gave way to shades of envy, and the sea refracted its passing over sand and shadowed shallows. Currents drew aside the mermaid's hair and the riptides rolling. Green, copper's rust, novitiate's hue, the visible spectrum around 540 nanometers. I was only bound for glory, shipbound, and the emerald sea swayed like grass till I was shipwrecked, cast ashore on the tide-scored boulders for the sun to kiss and wake me in some other land. Green, shades of nature, chlorophyll or paradise, an illusory colour in the iris. Where I sailed in dreams or different vessels, I found imagined countries of the vision I sought, and it was the joy of travel or journey's end. Green, the starboard gleam, robes of prophet and priest, the colour of absinthe. I laboured at the windlass too long, drunk too deep of feverish liquors, pale and musky wines, until the essence of going was an alien thing, and I, faceless at the helm, steered myself to nowhere until the wind itself heeled me over, pitched me bleak and night-bound on this sand-locked bay. Green, affirmation's light, foregoing, forbidden, faithless love, deceit itself. Eyes betrayed me. My eyes, all the eyes across the oceans of the world betrayed their colour in colourless dark. All seeing was confused by shades of weather, its demons and monstrous mythology. Bewildered and poisoned by concoctions cast away, I felt my wild and ravening desires. Green, the colour of money, sickness on the lips and of the heart, poisons. I toasted beauty and St. Elmo's fire, watched the masthead reel as if it, not I, was too intoxicated with the need of seeing, and let the 9 winds of winter drive me, or the 100 zephyrs of squandered summer lull me into faithless sleep. Green, precious stones and gems, dragon skin, my cup of wormwood. So I conquered the waters in which I wallowed, thinking it was my artfulness made the seas and seasons run. Before my beveled hull I was master of their flight, but my own folly hid the rocks and races that dragged me down, shed my barnacled skin, and me within, exhausted, scarred and hollow on the boulder beach, with the sea moss and the wrack, dizzying, my green reflecting eyes. Thank you.
Wow, Brian, I love the flow of that. I feel like I've been on like a big adventure quest. Really nice. Thanks so much for sharing it. And I've got to say, Brian's put us all to shame. He's like redecorated his walls, especially for the gig. He's gone for a whole color scheme that none of us bothered to. Well done, Brian.
Oh,
Thanks very much, Brian. Good to meet you.